Want to learn how to build beautiful stone bridges in Valheim? Hey everyone, my name is Smitty and today I'm going to be showing you how to make my favorite Valheim bridge. This is a design that I developed in my recent Mistland Village project. Today I'll be showing you my step-by-step process and how I build these. Hope you all enjoy, and without further ado, grab a snack, grab a drink, let's get right into it. Alright, so building fancy bridges. So this is actually called a moon bridge, and it's one of my favorite designs in Valheim. So it's a bit complex, but hopefully after this you guys will have a better idea of how exactly I build this. So you do not need mods to build this. I will be in dev commands just to make this process flow a little bit better to show you guys how. But it should work in vanilla Valheim if you guys are building in that way. So for those of you guys who've seen my Mistland Village, we did a very large moon bridge in the opening of that village. So we're not going to go quite as big here. We're going to scale it down just to make it a little easier to show how exactly I do this. But the process is still the same. It's just on a smaller scale. So the first thing I would do here is I need to figure out where exactly my bridge is going to be framed. So what I'm going to do is take a wood iron pole and we'll start here. We'll stack it up. Maybe we'll go 3 high. Right? And then from here, we want to go out, just kind of creating the frame. So maybe we'll go 3, 4 on each side. So do that. And then we'll just drop it down to the ground here. So this will act as the skeleton for the bridge. It really depends where you're building. So you may have cliffs or rocks or something that you're building on. Since we're building out in the open, I just have some beams here to mark that area. We might raise some ground here on the other side to kind of meet the bridge, but we'll see. So from here, the next step, what I'll do after creating the kind of skeleton structure is I'm going to fill in a section of this with wood walls. And that's because what I need to do here is actually establish a background, kind of like a canvas, that I'm later going to be able to utilize to draw out this circle and the arches underneath using beams. So I just got to create a flat area to do that. Maybe I'll go one more out. Alright, so there, we kind of have our canvas now that I can work from. So next what I need to do is actually draw out an outline for like a circular arch underneath this bridge. So what I'm actually going to do here is, for this moon bridge style, what I need to ensure that I do is that I actually capture more than a half circle underneath. So it needs to be about 3/4. And so maybe I'll start up here and I'll go, so that's half, 1.5, maybe 2 from there. So maybe I'll start from there. So if I know that's 2 going that way, I know that I gotta go 2 out on each side. That'll keep it consistent with my circular arch. So from here, what I will do is I'll take a beam and holding shift, I don't want it to click in. I don't want it to snap in place. I actually want it to sit up on top because that means it stays consistent with the depth of the rest of the beams as I set them going in a circle. So I'm gonna hold shift here and that'll toggle off the snapping. And I'm just gonna mark off each corner here. I think I need to dig out just a little bit farther here, just so I can bring the circle in a little bit after these corners. Let's do that. Okay, so from here, I gotta draw out this circular outline for the arch. So it's quite a slow process. You just gotta kind of eye it as best you can. But I just try to gradually create a circular shape You might have to delete some and replace it, but I want to create this curve that looks nice and consistent as it comes down. So as I can see here, I'm actually curving down a little bit too quickly, so I gotta reset this a little bit. This can certainly take some time, but you just gotta be patient. Then on the bottom, we'll start swinging it in, just to give that more circular shape. So, just want to create a nice curve. So we only have half now, and then we'll complete the second half on the other side. Again, this is a bit of trial and error. A lot of times I end up deleting certain beams and trying to realign things, but just try to make it as identical as possible to the other side. It's not going to be an exact match, but if you get it close enough, it should still work and have the desired effect. So as we can see here, I flattened that out a little too much, so I'm going to delete this. So it's not perfect, but again, it's close enough, and it still has the effect. So we'll start wrapping it underneath a little bit. So there. Now we have our circular outline, which is what we want. Adjust this a little bit. All right, now that we have our outline, what we're going to do is make sure that it's well supported. And so what I do is I like to ensure that we have iron beams that come in from the sides. So start removing some of that canvas there. And just creating a couple of connecting points. We don't want the beams to go into and break this outline, so just bring them in where we can. And I create the 1 meter beams here just because it gives me an additional snapping point for the wood iron beams. Bring these in here. And these wood iron beams will help prop up the stone that is going to fill in our walls. So after you have all this, I'm going to go ahead and remove this backdrop because we don't need it anymore. And we also shouldn't need this. So I'm going to remove that. And this should all stay standing. So now that we made it this far, what I'm actually going to do next is take wood beams and extend out this arch to the other side. So I want this central structure to really be in the middle of the bridge. So I'm going to do that. And this becomes much easier than the other side because we already have the snapping points established. We just have to find it and connect it in the right spot. So we will just go ahead and follow this all the way around. Alright, so now we just widened the arch. We should still have good support throughout. Okay, so the next step from here is, what I actually like to do is I actually like taking the 2x1 stone walls and then trying to connect them to snapping points to outline it on our arches here. So this will just nicely trim it. And it can be a little bit funky, but should be able to find good snapping points throughout here just to be able to line it. Thing is, I don't want the stone to break, again, the inside of this outline, so just make sure that it just tucks in right on the outside if possible. Alright, And then we'll go from the other side. Oh, so we might have a little problem with them falling off here. So might need to sneak in another layer of iron beams. That should stay now. Alright, there. So now it's nicely lined with some stone. We'll just go ahead and do that on the other side here as well. Alright, there we go. So as we can see at this point, we have it nicely trimmed with some stone. The next thing we need to do is lay in our stone foundation. So I think it'll probably come out this far at least. So let's lay in at least our top layer. Actually, this is a little bit off. Need this to be centered right on the beams. And then we'll figure out ways to start filling it in while having it being offset. And these beams in the background should hold them up. Some pieces may not fit exactly like how you want to either, so it may require some custom placing. So right now I'm holding shift to disable snapping, and then I'm just tucking in a piece right there, and that should fill that gap. So it takes a little bit of that to make it all work, but eventually it should all fit. Alright, we can see that a lot of the stone is filled in. Now we're just going to go ahead and fill it in on the other side. Try to follow the same snapping points. So the backside can actually get a little bit dicey because based on the way that we placed the beams, it's going to project a little bit farther to the front, which means that these might get overlapped. If you don't mind, you can still just do snapping points and it's just not going to look as clean. It's up to you. Nice for these pieces, what I'll do is I'll just custom place them so they don't snap. They don't overlap too greatly with these the stone trim. So takes a little bit more time, but it can make it look a little bit nicer. Alright, so yeah, it can get a little wonky, but it still works. So from here, what I then do is establish a little bit of curve on the top. So I'll find the midpoint of my arch here. So maybe like right there. And I'll place some stone floors. And then toggling off the snapping points, I will just barely slide this down and then keep repeating that for as long as I can. So I might need to extend out some supports. So this can get a little tricky as you try to just slightly build these down each time. You might need to add some temporary supports. But the idea is just to gradually create that curve on the top. We'll go there as well. With these. So yeah, now we got a nice little curve, and then we can go ahead and try to snap these on the other side. Alright, and then we're gonna go ahead and try to do the same thing on this side. Again, might take some shuffling some of these pieces. You just delete them and then can replace them. Okay. So from here, it should just about match. We have a slight incline and decline at the top here. Oh, looks like this one doesn't quite line up, so let's fix that. Alright. It should be slight enough where you can still walk across it. Yep. That works. From here, what I'm gonna do is actually do a bit of terraforming. So I'm going to raise the ground to meet up to where I want at this bridge. So we're gonna try to create a little bit of a natural ramp here. So I'm gonna raise the ground and then try to smooth it out as best as I can. Create a little natural ramp. Alright. Try to make a little bit of a cobblestone road. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Go some cobblestone. Okay, awesome. So from there, we do have the natural ramps to each side. You can come up and cross. The next thing that I'm going to do is add a little bit of a lip here at the top. So what I'll actually do is take these stone walls and then just try to push them out here. So they overhang just a little bit. Now I'm going to do that each segment. And again, I'm holding shift to toggle off the snapping point so I can custom place them. Alright, so as we can see, we just add a little bit of depth, adding a little bit of a lip here on the side. And we'll do that on the other side. Alright, awesome. So now we have a railing on both sides. Maybe we'll add some pillars here at the ends just to signify the start and stop of the bridge. Okay, that works. Okay, so from here the structural aspect of the bridge is pretty much complete. So we have that nice circular arch underneath it. We can walk all the way across. Now you just kind of gotta decorate it to taste, so however you want to. If you want to add banners, I think personally that sometimes the diverger wall lanterns actually look pretty nice hanging from here. So maybe you could add here, alternate every couple. Maybe just line this with some beams as well. Might look kind of nice. Add just a little bit of different color in here. Break up some of the stone. Alright, awesome. So again, yep, you can decorate this however you want, add banners, add different lighting, but this is the circular bridge. So a bit of a complex build, takes a lot of fiddling with snapping points and toggling that on and off, but with enough patience, the result is really cool. Again, this is one of my favorite designs in Valheim, and I love implementing this in my builds. Alright, there you guys have it, the circular arched bridge. Definitely not a design meant for the beginner builder, but for some of you more ambitious builders out there, I hope showing this process can help educate you guys on how you guys might be able to implement this into your projects. So, hope you enjoyed this, hope you found it helpful. If you did, please make sure you like, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks.